Late Night Health continues, and we have somebody who's been on the show many times over the last number of years, Dr. Christine Horner. We're going to be talking about belly flop. Americans are losing the fight against fat, and we're going to talk about something called overfat, where maybe you're not obese, maybe you're not exactly fat, you're overfat. Maybe you're 15 or 20 pounds overweight. Dr. Horner, would you say that that's a pretty good definition?
Well, actually, what's real interesting is there's this new condition called overfat, and it happens when your weight is normal. So, we do this measurement called the BMI, body mass index, which is basically taking your weight and dividing it by your height. So it's just kind of a gross measurement, but it doesn't tell us anything about body composition. And now what the researchers are finding is that even if you have a normal BMI, so you think your weight's fine and you don't have a problem, they're doing composition tests on them and finding that they're still over fat, in particular in the area of belly fat, which belly fat is kind of a dangerous kind of fat because it's metabolically active is what we call it. And what it means is it's producing inflammatory proteins and making hormones and all sorts of stuff that actually puts you at risk for all sorts of different diseases like heart disease and diabetes and even increasing your risk of certain cancers.
I was at the doctor last week, and when he snuck out of the office, I jumped on a scale. I have lost some weight, which is good, but the belly fat fight is ongoing. You have some ideas for us, especially during the holiday season coming up, where we should push ourselves away and maybe not consume as much or eat better?
That's always a good idea. So, nothing really replaces, a good diet, which, eating as many plants as you possibly can is really one of the secrets, and eliminating the carbs and the sugar. And then, of course, getting lots of movement to your body is very, very important. But in addition to that, research has actually found a number of different nutrients that can help you to lose that belly fat. So things like, now you described, even though, you've lost weight, you still have a tendency to have a little belly fat. And actually, if you look at, so what puts us at risk for developing belly fat, they find that men actually have more of a tendency to get belly fat than women. And the belly fat I'm talking about is actually inside the abdomen. So it's the type of fat that coats our organs. It's not on the outside. And kind of the traditional appearance is that beer belly that we see on men. Yeah, so you can't really pinch it, but it's, definitely sticking out. And so men, like I said,
pinch it.
Are more at risk. And then genetics, can play a role. So we have a thing where we call your body like as an apple shape or a pear shape, and the apple shape is the more dangerous, so that can be, a genetic thing. Diet obviously plays a role, and things like beer and carbohydrates and sugar are worse culprits for that. And then finally, stress is something that really plays a really big role in belly fat, because when you are under stress, which we all are all the time, it causes our stress hormones to go up, and in particular a stress hormone called cortisol. And cortisol has many actions in the body, but one of the things that it does is if it's chronically elevated, and that's really a condition we're seeing because everybody's under chronic stress, then it causes you to deposit belly fat. So getting your stress under control or combating some of the effects of that stress is kind of an important approach to reducing belly fat.
One of the ways that people are turning to reduce belly fat are tummy tucks. You're a former plastic surgeon, but you've seen the light and don't do that anymore. But there are people who are going in and having belly fat literally sucked out of their bodies. Is that a good alternative or not?
Yeah. Let me define the difference with that, because when you do like a tummy tuck or you do liposuction, you're taking subcutaneous or the outside fat out. You're not taking the belly fat out. So the belly fat's different. That's on the inside. And so you can't do that, with abdominoplasty or with liposuction. So basically it's much better to take an approach where you're eliminating the belly fat by correcting your diet and the exercise. But then in addition to that, they found things like this plain old vitamin C, for instance, which you can either take as a supplement or get in a lot of different vegetables and fruits that are deeply pigmented, like red and green bell peppers and winter squash and oranges and sweet potatoes and so forth. So these are very high in vitamin C, and they found that vitamin C is something that helps to dampen that level of cortisol, your stress hormone, so it doesn't keep it as elevated or as high. Another simple thing that you can do, most people haven't heard of this, but there's an Asian fruit that's considered kind of a delicacy called a lychee fruit. It's spelled Lychee. And lychee fruits are super sweet. They're like a little, kind of white, fleshy fruit. And when they look at all the different plants, we find that each one of them really has their own chemistry in it, like their own kind of natural pharmacy. And some of these plants will have unique molecules in them that you can just think of them as natural medicines. And so when they looked at lychee fruits, they found this polyphenol, that's what all the active kind of molecules are called, which are by definition high in antioxidants and high in anti-inflammatories. But oligonol was found to actually have this effect metabolically that helps to reduce belly fat. And so they did this really amazing study where they took men that had bigger bellies, they had to be 33 inches or higher, and they did a double-blinded, placebo-controlled study, so that's where we get our best information. Half got a placebo, half got the oligonol supplement, and at the end of 10 weeks, they found that the men that were getting the oligonol supplement actually lost 15% of belly fat. I mean, that's like an unbelievably statistically significant number. They also lost a little bit of subcutaneous fat, about 6% of that, and lost about 1.5 inches off of their waist. And neither group changed anything else.
And I like lychees. I like lychees, but can you get those fresh? I mean,
well, you don't get it from lychee fruit for a number of reasons. First of all, oligonol is actually a molecule that is made from the lychee fruit, but they're pulling out a longer chain molecule from it and turning it to a shorter chain that's more metabolically active and bioavailable. And you'd have to eat 20 some odd lychee fruits, which is way too much sugar and way too many calories to get the same kind of dose. So this is something where you actually have to take it in a supplement. You can't take it from the fruit that it was originated from.
And I've only seen lychees, as far as I can remember, in cans, and they usually are in a heavy sugar syrup.
Right.
Right.
Add that to it.
Yeah.
Well, you can get them fresh, but they're seasonal, and you can find them sometimes in Asian stores. But you're right; they're in cans that are just floating and more sugar. So again, not the way to get your oligonol source. You have to really get it from a supplement.
And one way for guys in particular to dump that belly fat is to have a lot of sex.
Sure. It's actually a great exercise, burns calories, and it's a stress reducer too. So it helps with those cortisol go down.
Wow. And does it work as well for women? Does it work as well for women?
I think it works for both, actually. Of course, as I said, men are, have a tendency towards belly fat more than women, too. Now, here's another fun fact, like omega-3 fatty acids, which are the healthiest type of fat that we can consume. So they found that, it seems counterintuitive that you would eat fat to lose fat. But when you eat omega-3 fatty acids, which are the healthiest type of fat that you can consume, they found that it actually activates this gene that affects energy, and it causes your body to burn 400 more calories a day when you're taking, therapeutic doses of omega-3s.
What would be a therapeutic dose?
Well, it depends. So this is kind of an interesting area here, too, where they found that different people metabolize omega-3s different than from each other. And so normally you take about 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s a day, but then they found that may not be enough in a number of people because they burn it too much or they don't absorb it as much. And so you can get your levels checked, and you actually don't have to go to a doctor's office for that. There's a website called nutrientpower.org where you can order this kit. that comes to your house and it has instructions, but basically you're pricking your finger and putting a little dot of blood on a piece of paper, sending it in, and they can tell you then what your omega-3 fatty acid levels are. It's called your omega-3 index, and it should be 8% or higher.
Wow. And are most people under that?
They are. In fact, even people who are taking supplements have been kind of surprised to find that they're lower than what they think they would be. But like I said, there's all sorts of things that go into it. And one of them, this was something I didn't know and I learned recently, was that if you're an athlete, which I am, so if you take your omega-3s in the morning, you can actually burn it off during the day. And so it's better to take it at night before you go to sleep.
That is interesting. Yeah. Wow. Our guest is the author of Radiant Health, Ageless Beauty, an award-winning book. Dr. Christine Horner, the author of 2 award-winning books, by the way. Your other book is called?
Waking the Warrior Goddess.
That's it. Waking the Warrior Goddess. I should have known that off the top of my head. We're going to take some time out. When we come back, we'll continue with Dr. Christine Horner as Late Night Health continues. Be sure to join us at latenighthealth.com and facebook.com/Late Night Health Radio. More coming up. There you go, Daryl.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Grief can be such a burden on your heart. It can be crippling to the point where you can't even seem to function. I've been there, and I know that pain. But I also know you're not alone in that sorrow. We're all going through something in this life. Just as the sun has to face dark days, so do we. But the sun also has to shine again. Letting go of grief is not about letting go of your loved one. It's about making room in your heart for the love that you hold for them. If you have great grief, then you must have a very big heart too. It's time to fill your heart with that love and share it with everyone.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.